Do you have a living trust? And if you don't, should you have a living trust? I'm going to give you a few benefits of why I think most people should have a living trust and how it benefits both you and your estate when you do this. My name is Trevor. I'm an equity conversion specialist with Heritage Reverse Mortgage. I work predominantly with people who are either in retirement or about to be in retirement. And so dealing with trusts and estate planning is something that I'm involved with quite a bit, and I've seen hundreds of my clients go through this process. And so I'm going to give you my recommendations. Now keep in mind, I'm not an attorney, and you definitely should talk to an attorney if this is something you're serious about, but I'll give you the advice I have based on the experiences that I've gone through. Now, the best place for us to start is to explain what trusts are. And the easiest analogy I can give you is that a trust is essentially a bridge. It's a financial bridge. The idea is that with a trust, you are bridging the gap between ownership of your properties from you and your heirs. And so that when you pass away, ownership of all of your assets immediately transfers over to your estate, to your heirs or your family. And so in many ways, this bridge of that gap can really, really simplify things for both you and your family. And so let's talk about some of those primary benefits. The number one is probate. You want to avoid probate. Now, I learned this the hard way when my own mother passed away. I'm the youngest of 8 kids, and my mom didn't have a ton to pass on to us anyway, but all the same, we still had to go through probate, which was a long and frustrating process. It took us about 6 or 7 months. We had to pay attorney fees, we had to pay court fees, we had to publish in the paper that she had passed away to see if there's anybody else out there who had claim on her property. And so it was really just an annoying situation to have to deal with. And a lot of people think that if they have a will in place that it avoids probate. It does not. A will simply tells the courts what you want to have happen. It doesn't execute your wishes at all. Only the attorneys in the courts can do that without a trust. And so that's why the trust is such a great thing to have in place, is because, again, if you have a trust in place, ownership happens immediately upon passing, and so there's no probate involved. Benefit number 2 is reduced taxes. And so this is something that wealthy people understand. Wealthy people always own real estate, and wealthy people always have trusts because they understand that there are ways to not have to pay the IRS unnecessary taxes. And so what happens when you have a trust, again, is because of that instantaneous passage of ownership, the IRS can't get involved to tax the transfer of those assets. And so it could save your children, your estate, a ton of money in taxes if you have a trust in place. The third benefit that comes up for a lot of people is privacy. Maybe you don't care, but a lot of people don't like the idea that the county displays your information. You know, if you own a home, most counties will disclose that information. But if you have a trust in place, you can put the ownership of that home in the name of the trust, and it keeps your business a little bit better. The final reason that a lot of people like having trusts is the planning for incapacity. Now, it just happens. We get older and our bodies begin breaking down, and sometimes we become incapacitated. Now, having a trust in place it essentially helps with this. It's not the trust itself, but the process of setting up your trust and your will and your end of life wishes and those kinds of things. Typically, all of that goes together. And so if you get into this situation and you've prepared these documents ahead of time, your family and your care physicians, medical care providers know what you want to have happen in those situations. And so it just kind of ties off all the knots of your life and makes that transition better for you and for everybody else involved. Now, you could go to just about any attorney, I think, and get a trust set up. But from my experience, I found that you definitely want to work with somebody who deals with trusts a lot as a specialty. You want to deal with somebody who does a lot of these so that they fully understand them, both for the laws of the trust, but also laws in the states where you have properties. And so it's something you want to make sure you're working with a true professional on. In terms of cost, I found that trusts can cost anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000-$4,000 to set up. I have found a very good attorney who does it for as little as $700. And so if you do have a trust now and it's been more than 10 years since you've updated it, it might be worth investing to get it up to date. If you don't have a trust now, for sure, the $700 to get that in place is going to benefit you and your family immensely. It's worth the investment of that small amount of money to do so. So if you have questions about this and you do want to be connected to a great attorney, reach out to me, send me an email, give me a call. I'd be happy to help you walk through that process and get connected with who you need to be. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.